The Crypto Markets Update is brought to you by KuCoin, the best place to find the next crypto gem. Joining us now to discuss the crypto markets is Edward Moya, Senior Market Analyst at the Americas at Forex firm OANDA. Hello there, Edward. So Bitcoin is sustaining $40,000 support. Where is the market headed, though? A bit of a retreat this morning.
Thank you for having me. And right now, Bitcoin looks like it's going to be stuck in a range. I think considering how high Treasury yields have been moving, the fact that it's still above 40,000 is still pretty good. Sentiment has been waning a little bit. I think there's a lot of investors that are still anticipating that we could see one last plunge before you have a lot of big investments coming back into Bitcoin. The problem right now is that there's this approach that you're starting to see. There's a lot more attractiveness with some of these other protocols. The growth potential is just much better for some of these other blockchain coins, and I think that you're seeing the Bitcoin trade is still a key holding for every crypto trader. It's just that now, as far as people's portfolios, Bitcoin is no longer 50% of the portfolio. It's now closer to maybe 20% or 30%. So I think Bitcoin is going to have a tough grind, I think, this first quarter. And I think as Treasury yields continue to surge, you're probably going to see the 10-year at 2% a lot sooner than a lot of people were anticipating. And Bitcoin's going to struggle as risky assets kind of go through the motions as far as dealing with these higher borrowing costs. But I think in the end, the outlook is still fairly upbeat, medium and long term for cryptos. It's just this short term. There's just a lot of, I think, de-risking you're going to see with high risky assets. And Bitcoin, through no fault of its own, it's going to probably be penalized for that.
Yeah, welcome back. We're seeing a lot of drying volumes, and it's not just in Bitcoin, though. We're seeing it in ETH as well, and we're seeing even today when we look at some of the altcoins, those layer ones that you were just talking about, they're suffering some bigger losses than Bitcoin or ETH. Do you think, though, we might end up is there a possibility we might end up in a death spiral, if you will? We have lower volumes causing more people to step away from Bitcoin, if not sell, and slowly but surely work its way down in price, and not just in Bitcoin, but in ETH and in the overall cryptocurrency complex. I mean, is that something that is, at the very least, more than a slim possibility, if you will?
It is a growing risk. And I think one of the big problems over the past couple of months is that you've seen such explosive growth. And I think that one of the problems, the big problem is that you're having too much of the money not going to these crypto coins, but they're going into metaverse bets, they're going into NFTs, and the majority of these NFTs are going to end up being worthless. So I think there's just this unrealistic expectation that you're going to make a quick buck on some of these other crypto-related products, and I think people are kind of losing their focus in the short term. But the risk is growing that obviously as you continue to see, I think the focus go into some other coins that might not necessarily succeed, but I think the institutional world is still committed. The retail world, yes, that interest might wane, but I think the institutional world is not going to abandon here. And I think one of the biggest things that we're not focusing on right now is that, yes, we always talk about U.S. inflation, but if you take a look at what's going to happen or what is happening across the rest of the world, inflation is running away. Brazil has already delivered 700 basis points in rate hikes since this pandemic, and they can't control inflation. You're seeing a lot of countries that are desperate to find alternative investments, and I think you're going to really see that. Bitcoin, Ethereum, they've been the best performing asset over the past 3 years. People understand that you can have a 50% drawdown at any moment, and this has become accepted. So I think you're probably going to see that a lot of traders, they're anticipating that, inflation is it's going to be a lot worse worse abroad. And I think it's going to moderate in the second half of the year here, but abroad, it's going to remain extremely elevated. And I think you're going to see that Latin America and emerging markets, Turkey especially, everyone is scrambling to find diversification away from their domestic currencies. So I think that you're still going to see a strong macro backdrop, I think, for the rest of the year for cryptos.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see Bitcoins as an inflation hedge being put to the test. But just to kind of draw some of just the conclusion here. So early on, you mentioned that part of what was happening is that people were diversifying out of Bitcoin into other coins. But I guess my question for you is like the lackluster start of 2022 in the crypto markets. How much of it is just kind of correlating with just the stock market as a whole and just kind of following just the macro trend, whatever is affecting the stock market is just affecting Bitcoin as well? I mean, how much of that do you think is driving this narrative?
I think it's a good part of it, but I think the other part of the equation is you've seen a lot of crypto traders, they've gotten spoiled with Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think when you consider some of the explosive growth that we saw over the past few years, it just seemed that every dip was bought and there was strong bullish momentum shortly after. And now over the past few months, it's really been choppy, and it seems that it's choppy to the downside, and it's a lot of traders. They're just saying, no, this is probably going to be an extended period of consolidation here, and that is not giving them much confidence for putting more or increasing their portfolio right now in Bitcoin or Ethereum. So I think right now there's just more of a cautious approach. They're just waiting to see, do we see 40,000 break? Does it go to 35, 30? And that's when I'm going to become very aggressive in a position. And I think that you're probably not going to see that happen. I think that the institution money is going to be buying well in advance of any major dip that we see. And I think that the move in treasuries is overdone. I think that you're going to see that the balance sheet runoff is probably going to be what keeps the back end of the curve, somewhat capped over these next couple of months, and it's going to be a much more slower grind higher. We have to remember how high yields have risen over the past few months. So I think that crypto should start to be stabilizing, I think, over the next couple of months, but it will be choppy, and we could see obviously some extreme swings.